By now, everybody is talking about the new DeepSeek-r1 model and how performant it is relative to other closed source models. And this white paper goes into explaining everything about how it works, how it's actually more efficient. But if I were to summarize it for you, there's a few things in it that make it a lot more performant. One is it uses something called group relative policy optimization, which basically means that it doesn't need to use a critic model as you would in a typical model. And the critic model can be as large as the actual main model, so there's a big computational savings from there. The second thing is that I actually use something called rules-based rewarding. And the reward mechanism that it uses is more rule-based, and it doesn't have a computationally heavy neural network that actually does a lot of the rewards for that. And it also has cold start fine-tuning. Now you can go and read this paper. You can sort of understand a little bit more about it, but it's a lot more efficient because it uses a better way of actually rewarding the model itself. So really the question is, how good is this model relative to some of the other open source models? So I'm going to give it a riddle, and I want to see if it can answer the riddle. I'm going to do a test against DeepSeek v3, GPT-4o, and then Claude Sonnet 3.5. Let's see how it does with that. And then the second one is we're going to bring up the big models and we're going to do a comparison between DeepSeek-r1 and ChatGPT-o1. So let's get started. So today I want to do a test on Claude 3.5 Sonnet, DeepSeek v3, as well as ChatGPT-4o. And I've basically given it a riddle, and it's to help find the combination lock. Now after this is done, I'm also going to do a test on DeepSeek reasoning as well as ChatGPT-o1. So let's see how these do. Don't worry about them starting at different times just because I'm going to go back and look at the timestamps anyways, but more curious to see what the chain of thought is and how these smaller models actually process this information. It looks like Claude may have an answer, but also there was some kind of an error, but it thinks the answer is 402. So let's go back and see what the other two models think. And ChatGPT thinks that the answer is 206. So just in terms of processing time, it doesn't really say how long Claude took, which is unfortunate. But I mean, it was relatively quick and there wasn't much of a head start. Though the answer Claude got, which is 402, is incorrect. The answer that ChatGPT got is also incorrect. And let's see what DeepSeek v3 comes up with. So what's interesting about DeepSeek v3 is that very similar to its reasoning model, it actually reasons along the way as well, which is why it probably takes so long. And that's another thing I'm going to bring up is the developer experience after this, which I personally think is, for DeepSeek, is not very good at the moment. And that's largely probably because of the announcements that came out over the last couple of days. So I'm sure their servers are getting hit like crazy, but the developer experience is not nearly as smooth, we'll say, as this experience. Sometimes I think DeepSeek v3 even overthinks things quite a bit, because sometimes when you're running these large language models in production, you want to get an answer and you want to get it fairly quick. So it thinks the answer is 062, which is interesting because it's just a slight shift of that, which is also incorrect as well. So let's bring in the bigger models and see how they do. All right, now we've got DeepSeek-r1 running, and then we've got ChatGPT-o1 running. So let's go ahead, and these ones will have timestamps, so we'll be able to do a proper comparison of the answers that they get. So let's see how they reason this one out. And as you can see, DeepSeek is already off to the races, showing us the logic and chain of thought. o1 is actually still thinking about it. So let's see where this goes. So DeepSeek has come up with an answer of 042, which is actually the correct answer. So as you can see, DeepSeek has already come up with the answer while ChatGPT-o1 is still thinking about it. That took a total of 68 seconds for it to go ahead and do that. Let's see, so now ChatGPT is going off, so let's see what answer it gives us. So far it's thought about it for about a minute and 25 seconds. Let's see what it comes up with as an answer. So it also answered 042, which is actually the correct answer as well. So there's your comparison between the two. In the next video, I'm going to talk about the developer experience, where I think this is sort of where ChatGPT still edges over DeepSeek at the current moment, and that's, like I said, largely due to the infrastructure that DeepSeek has at the moment. I will show you how to do it both in Python, but I'll also show you how to do it in N8N with a low-code environment, and you'll see that the results are pretty similar across the two DeepSeek models, and it just infinitely runs, whereas when you switch the LLM over to OpenAI, it's fairly quick. So that's coming up in the next video. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.